Have you ever had one of those, incredible ideas, something you're just convinced could be massive?
Oh, absolutely. That light bulb moment.
Right. But then you stare at the screen or the page and think, okay, how do I actually build this? How does it become a real thing that, makes money?
Or you look at these big successful companies, even smaller ones sometimes, and wonder, what's their secret sauce? How is it all structured?
Exactly. Well, today, that's what we're diving into. We're tackling that core concept, the business model.
It's fundamental.
It really is. This deep dive, think of it as your shortcut to understanding how businesses actually find value and, crucially, how they turn that value into profit.
And we've got some great sources here, really interesting stuff that boils down complex ideas.
Yeah, we've sifted through them, and our mission today is simple. Pull out the absolute key nuggets of wisdom. We want to help you not just get what a business model is, but, and this is the powerful part, how you can apply it for your own ideas, your own ventures.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's unpack this. What exactly is a business model? I mean, the term itself, it really seemed to explode around the early 2000s, right?
Yeah, with the dot-com boom, e-business, it became super prominent then.
People realized, okay, a cool website or product isn't enough. You need a plan for how it creates value, how it makes money.
Precisely. It's moved from being maybe an afterthought to an essential tool. If you're planning any project now, you need to map this out.
So what's the core definition we're working with?
Well, fundamentally, a business model is the way a company uses to find value and profit. Simple as that, but it unpacks a lot.
Okay.
It's really about providing the answers to the big questions. Who are you actually serving? Your target audience. What are you offering them? Products, services. What makes you different?
The differentiation piece.
Critical. And also, how do you do it all efficiently? Because efficiency ties directly back to profit and sustainability.
Right. It's not just having the idea, it's the whole engine behind
Yeah.
it. Okay, definitions are good, but examples make it stick. And our sources had some really clear ones. Let's talk about a couple.
Good idea.
First, the manufacturing model. This feels like the bedrock, doesn't it?
It's the classic. Take raw materials, transform them, produce finished goods.
Think Ford building cars, or General Electric making almost everything back in the day.
Yeah. And locally, examples like Ayama Cement or Sadek Steel fit this perfectly, taking basic inputs, creating essential building blocks.
Then there's a completely different approach, the franchise model.
Ah, yes, very powerful. Instead of building a brand new identity.
You basically rent an existing successful one, you pay a fee to use their trademark, their system.
And the huge advantage is that brand recognition. It's already there. People know what to expect.
Absolutely. Globally, you see McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Subway, everywhere. You know the name, the product.
And we have strong local examples, too, like Beit al-Shawaya, Sanibel al-Salam, or Mama Nora. They've used franchising to expand their reach significantly.
Okay, so we get the what and we've seen some hows, but let's tackle the why. Why actually bother mapping all this out? Especially when you're excited and just want to start doing...
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Why is this considered such a key to success? What are the real, tangible benefits for you, the listener, whether you're launching something totally new or trying to grow what you've already got?
It comes down to leverage and avoiding costly mistakes. A good business model, it forces clarity. It helps you really choose your customers, define exactly what you're offering.
Pinpoint what makes you special.
Right, your unique features. It helps you list out all the tasks you absolutely have to do, identify the resources you need, and ultimately put yourself on a path to actual profit.
Okay.
Our sources break this down into 5 specific benefits, and they're pretty compelling.
Let's hear them.
First, it helps with identifying core elements for early verification. This is crucial. It's not just listing things. It's about checking them early.
So finding the weak spots before you build on them.
Exactly. Imagine pouring months and money into development, only to realize 6 months down the line that you forgot a crucial partnership or you don't have a key resource.
Ouch. Been there.
A business model puts that on paper up front. You might spot that dependency in like 10 minutes, potentially saving you a huge headache and wasted investment.
Okay, that alone sounds worth it. What's number 2?
Second, it actually generates new ideas. You might think it's restrictive, like filling in boxes, but the process itself...
Answering those what, why, how, when questions for each part.
Precisely. It forces you to connect dots, and that sparks brainstorming. You start seeing new possibilities, maybe even entirely new business models for your core idea. It's actually a creative framework.
Interesting. I wouldn't have thought of it that way. Third.
Third, it provides a common language. This is huge for teams, especially in startups where things move fast.
Everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. It gives everyone a shared vocabulary, a visual tool they can point to and discuss. It leads to much healthier, more productive debates about the idea itself, refining it before you start building. Cuts through assumptions and jargon.
Okay, makes sense. Number 4.
Fourth is fast preparation. This one might sound a bit surprising, but the sources suggest that because the format is so organized,
Yeah.
you can actually sketch out multiple potential business models for one idea pretty quickly, maybe even in just an hour. It allows for rapid conceptual prototyping.
Wow, okay. Testing different angles quickly.
Yep. And finally, fifth, it helps you see the interconnection of variables.
How everything links together.
Exactly. When you visualize it, you see how your customer segment relates to your value proposition, how that relates to your channels, your revenue. You can spot disconnects.
Like, hey, this part doesn't actually support that part.
Precisely. It helps you avoid investing time, money, and energy into a model that's fundamentally flawed or just won't create enough value.
Yeah.
So basically, it forces you to think much more consciously, more strategically about every single piece of your venture.
It clarifies the logic. How you create value, deliver it, and importantly, capture it.
It's conscious design. That's the key phrase.
Okay, I'm sold on the why. So how do you actually do it? How do you design one? This is where the canvas comes in, right?
That's the tool.
Yeah.
The business model canvas.
Yeah.
Our sources really highlight this as, well, one of the most modern and, frankly, simplest ways to lay it all out. Developed by Alexander Osterwalder and Yves Pignier.
And its beauty is that simplicity, getting the whole picture on one page.
That's the genius of it. One single page, clear blocks showing how everything connects. It's your blueprint.
So walk us through it. What are these building blocks? There are 9.
9 building blocks. Each one represents a critical piece of the puzzle. Let's go through them. First block, customer segments, CS. Who are you trying to serve? Which specific groups of people or organizations?
Seems obvious, but probably harder than it looks to really define.
It really is. It's not just who might buy, but which segment offers the best fit for your unique value. Think about budget airlines like Wizz Air or a Deal. They very deliberately target a large group of price-sensitive travelers. That's their segment.
Got it. Block 2.
Value propositions, VP. This is what you offer, the bundle of products and services that creates value for that specific customer segment you just defined.
It solves their problem or meets their need.
Exactly. But it's more than just the features. It's the benefit, the value. Think about the first mobile phones versus landlines.
Right.
The value wasn't just making calls anywhere. It was this massive shift in personal communication, accessibility. It created entirely new possibilities. That's the value proposition.
Third block.
Channels, CH. How do you actually reach your customers? How do you communicate with them and deliver that value proposition?
The delivery mechanism.
Yeah. Dell is a classic example here. They shook up the PC market by selling direct to customers, bypassing retailers entirely. That was their channel strategy.
Right. Number 4.
Customer relationships, CR. What kind of relationship do you build with your customers? Is it automated? Personal? How do you get them, keep them, and grow them?
Like loyalty programs or...
Could be. Or think about Apple and its App Store developers. Apple provides the platform, takes a cut. It's a symbiotic kind of win-win relationship that keeps developers engaged.
I see. 5th block.
Revenue streams, RS. Okay, the big one. How do you make money? What are customers actually willing to pay for?
The cash register.
Pretty much. The sources point to Google generating massive revenue from those little text ads tied to search results. That's a core revenue stream built directly on their model.
Makes sense. We're past halfway. Block 6.
Key resources, KR. What are the absolute essential assets you need for your model to work? Physical, intellectual, human, financial.
What you can't do without.
Exactly. Apple, again, they focus their key resources on design, brand, software, that intellectual and human capital. But the actual manufacturing, they outsource that because it's not their key resource focus.
Interesting distinction. 7th.
Key activities, KA.
Yeah.
What are the most important actions your company must perform continuously to make the model work?
The things you have to do day in, day out.
Right. Production, problem solving, platform management, depends on the model. Cisco, for example, operating in a specialized tech field, innovative supply chain management is one of their absolute key activities.
Okay. Nearly there. Block 8.
Key partnerships,
Yeah.
AP. Who do you need to team up with? Suppliers, distributors, other partners who make your business model function? Businesses don't exist in isolation.
The network.
Yeah. Intel is a good example. They build key partnerships with companies that make complementary products, making Intel chips even more valuable within a larger ecosystem.
Smart. And the last one, number 9.
Cost structure, CS. What does it all cost? All the expenses incurred in operating the business model. Are you focused on minimizing cost or driving value even if it costs more?
Where the money goes out.
Exactly. Think about a restaurant like Altazaj. Part of their long-term success comes from a strong focus on keeping costs down, which allows them to be competitive. That's a core part of their cost structure.
Wow, okay. 9 blocks covering everything. So for someone listening trying to build their own thing, these 9 blocks are the practical steps.
They really are. It's how you get it down on paper.
And the sources even mentioned applying this to smaller, tangible projects like an online used book market or a car cleaning app.
Yeah, or a drone maintenance shop, a seafood food truck. The point is, you can take your idea, whatever it is, and use this canvas to map it out, to make those abstract concepts concrete and actionable.
Right, transforming the idea into a plan. Okay, so you've designed it, you've used the canvas, filled in the blocks. Now what? How do you know if it's actually any good? How do you measure success, especially when the market is always changing?
That's absolutely critical. A business model isn't something you create once and frame on the wall. It has to live, breathe, adapt.
To competition, changing customer needs.
Exactly. So how do you measure if it's working, if it's viable? Our sources point to 5 key factors.
Okay, let's break those down.
First, and maybe the most obvious, but still fundamental, profitability.
Gotta make money.
Ultimately, yes. For long-term survival, the activities have to generate more revenue than they cost. It sounds basic, but it's the bedrock. No profit, no sustainability.
Fair enough. What's second?
Second is longevity, or you could call it durability.
Yeah.
Is your model built on a solid foundation, or is it based on a passing fad?
Like the difference between selling fidget spinners versus selling, say, coffee.
Kind of, yeah. Demand for fads drops off a cliff. Models built around essential or continuous needs, or models that can adapt to changing needs, have a much better shot at lasting long-term.
Makes sense. Third factor.
Simplicity. Now, this might seem counterintuitive, but simpler models are often stronger.
Really? Why is that?
Because they're easier to understand, manage, and crucially, easier to spot problems in. Complex models can hide weaknesses. They often need really complicated risk management systems. Simpler designs mean you can be more agile.
Less likely for things to get lost in the complexity. Okay. Fourth.
Fourth is portability. Can you replicate this business model somewhere else?
Like the franchise model we talked about earlier. Highly portable.
Exactly. Contrast that with maybe a unique local shop that relies heavily on its specific location and community ties. That's much harder to port. Models that can be replicated have way more potential for growth and therefore long-term success.
Okay. And the fifth factor.
Recurring revenue. This is a big one, especially now. Are your sales mostly one-offs, or do you have streams of income that repeat?
Like subscriptions versus single purchases.
Precisely. Think newspaper subscriptions versus buying one copy at the stand. Recurring revenue has 2 massive advantages. One, your cost to acquire that customer often happens just once, but the revenue keeps coming in. 2, it makes your future earnings much more predictable. That stability is incredibly valuable.
Right, predictability makes planning much easier. Okay, profitability, longevity, simplicity, portability, recurring revenue. 5 key metrics.
They give you a really solid way to evaluate your model's health and potential.
Now, these concepts, the canvas, the metrics, they can feel a bit abstract. To really ground this, our sources included a fantastic real-world story. An entrepreneur whose journey just perfectly illustrates these principles in action.
Yes, a really compelling story. We're talking about Abdul Rahman Al-Juraissy.
Tell us about him. His beginnings sound quite remarkable.
They really are. He was born way back in 1932 in a small village in Najd, Saudi Arabia called Ragba. This was before the oil boom changed everything.
Wow.
He was orphaned young, raised by his uncle. A very simple rural upbringing. He actually stopped school after the 5th grade.
5th grade.
Yeah. And around age 14, he started working in Riyadh as basically an assistant salesperson.
Tough start.
Incredibly tough. Long hours, demanding work. But the sources emphasize his patience, his intelligence, and this real determination he had. He wanted to learn, to soak up experience.
So he stuck with it.
He did, for 11 years. Then, in 1958, when he's in his mid-20s, He took the leap.
Started his own
His
business.
first, yes, a small shop. Really simple stuff, selling household tools, spoons, pots, pottery.
Humble beginnings.
Very. But then the Saudi economy started to rapidly develop and change, and his little shop grew with it. Quickly.
Timing and adaptability.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That small shop eventually became Beit Al Mamlaka, and from there it just expanded into numerous well-known companies, factories, not just in Saudi Arabia, but across the Gulf and the wider region.
Incredible growth. What kind of businesses are in the group now?
It's incredibly diverse. There's a theater, an internet provider, computer and telecom services, Al-Juraissy Technology, Al-Juraissy Development, plus 4 major factories making things like furniture, smart cards, computer paper.
Wow. From a small shop selling pots and pans?
It's astonishing. And Forbes estimated his and his family's fortune at over $5 billion.
That is just, what an amazing story. And you can really see the business model principles playing out, can't you?
Absolutely. Even if he wasn't literally drawing a canvas back then.
Right. He was living it. Starting simple, understanding his initial customers and value, adapting constantly to the changing economic landscape, identifying key activities, reinvesting.
Expanding into new segments, building partnerships, managing costs as he grew. It's a masterclass in execution and evolution. His journey really embodies that power of identifying value and building a system to deliver and capture it consistently over decades.
It brings it all home. Okay, so let's recap this deep dive. We started by asking what a business model even is.
Right, that way a company finds value and profit.
Then we looked at why it's so crucial to benefits like early verification, idea generation, common language.
Fast preparation, seeing the interconnections, avoiding those big mistakes.
Then we dug into the how the business model canvas, those 9 building blocks, customer segments, value propositions,
Channels, customer relationships, revenue streams.
key resources, key activities, key partnerships, and the cost structure, the blueprint itself.
And how to measure if that blueprint is actually working. Profitability, longevity, simplicity, portability, and recurring revenue.
All brought to life by that incredible story of Abdul Rahman Al-Juraissy, from Ragba village to a multi-billion-dollar group.
What really strikes me, wrapping this up, is just how vital this skill is. Knowing how to design, test, and evaluate a business model. It's not just for startups. It's for anyone wanting to innovate, to build something that lasts.
It's about being deliberate, being conscious about how you create and capture value.
Exactly. It's not just hoping it works out, it's designing it to work.
Absolutely. And there's one final thought from our sources that really stuck with me related to Al-Juraissy.
Oh!
They specifically asked about his personal qualities. What did he possess? And the answer wasn't just about business acumen, it was about being bold, overcoming shyness, embracing risk. So as we finish, maybe the question for you, the listener, isn't just what your business model looks like on paper, but also what personal qualities will you need to cultivate? How will you find the boldness to pursue your vision, to convince others to take those necessary risks, just like Al-Juraissy did?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
The model is the map, but you still need the mindset, the courage to actually make the journey.
Exactly. It's the model and the mindset, something to really think about as you move forward with your own ideas. Hopefully this deep dive gives you the tools and maybe a bit of that inspiration.
Go out and explore. Build something great.